what we have seen over the last few months is that both TSMC and the US administration have been very constructive towards building out leading edge manufacturing presence in Arizona. TSMC has committed $165 billion over the coming years to build out 6 fabs, R&D capabilities as well. And this is a very tangible investment with money being spent today. So of course, there's other companies, Apple, NVIDIA, that have committed hundreds of billions to build out capacity in the US. But TSMC is very tangible, being put into the ground today. And we think that is sufficient for TSMC to ultimately receive a full exemption on these tariffs indeed. So I think the direct impact of these tariffs are going to be negligible for TSMC, yes.
Right. So that's the quid pro quo, isn't it, Rolf? If TSMC and their peers continue to invest and manufacture in the United States, then those tariff dogs are not going to bite.
Yes, and it's a difficult balancing act for both TSMC and other companies in Asia to strike, because manufacturing in the US is by definition less profitable. Labor costs are higher. There is no supply chain there to speak of when it comes to leading edge semiconductor manufacturing. So all of that needs to be built up from close to nothing. So that is a huge investment to make. On the other hand, we see that demand for chips being manufactured in the US from companies like AMD, Apple, NVIDIA is very high. So TSMC is fully booked for its Arizona fab that it is operating today. And also demand for the second phase that they're currently building out is looking very solid. So it's a balancing act to strike between appeasing the US administration and keeping an eye on your margins. But it seems that so far TSMC is managing to strike that balance fairly well.
Rolf, is there some confusion though over the exact level of investment that TSM is making in the United States and with the Arizona plant? Because President Trump seems to think it's more in the ballpark of $300 billion, building the biggest plant in the world. You mentioned a figure of $165 billion. Are both sides really aligned ultimately on the investment commitment that's going to be made? And does that imply that some fine-tuning and some negotiations still need to be conducted?
Well, look, I would not be surprised to see TSMC increasing its commitment over the coming years. A good proxy to look at here is Micron. Micron is a US-based manufacturer, much smaller than TSMC, but Micron is committed to invest $200 billion in the US, but over a multi-decade period. So for TSMC, of course, they can increase their commitment, but it's not going to change anything in terms of near-term spending, because these fabs, they take years to build. Just the shell, the building takes years to build, and to put in the tools, the equipment to manufacture those chips also takes years. So TSMC might increase its commitment. I wouldn't be surprised. But in the near term, I think things are set in stone, if you will, and the trajectory is very clear. This is a project, even the current 165 billion, that is going to take around a decade to fully deploy.
Despite the pressure from the Trump administration, it wouldn't be prudent for TSM to put all their eggs in one basket. So in terms of the addressable markets that are looking compelling for TSM, where else do you think they will spread the supply chain and manufacturing?
Yes, it's a great question, because for TSMC it is critical that they maintain the majority of their leading edge capacity in Taiwan. So currently we would expect that over the coming years they build up around 30% of the total leading edge capacity in the US, with the remainder staying in Taiwan. That is important, of course, because it is the lifeblood of the island. For TSMC, it is essential, both from a security and an economic point of view, to have that leading edge manufacturing in Taiwan. What we also do not expect is for TSM to do the R&D and deploy the most cutting edge processes, so the most advanced semiconductor chips in the US, that would always be deployed in Taiwan initially before being exported, if you will, to the US. Other markets, TSMC is investing in Japan. They are investing in Europe, but notably only trailing edge chips. So nothing to do with the chips that are used to manufacture AI semiconductors or leading edge smartphones, for instance. And that, I think, will be the state of affairs. Leading edge capacity in Taiwan and the US,
yes,
and some trailing edge capacity elsewhere.